It's beautiful out, you have hot days, you haven't seen rain for a while, but the bass, they're almost dormant. Here we are in that late summer, early fall transition, and everybody knows this can be a tough time of year to catch bass. But I do have 3 lures that I want to share with you guys that I really think can up your game. And those lures are So the first bait I want to talk about is no other than a Texas rig crawl. Crayfish are really abundant this time of year. A lot of them are sitting out on the rocks, sunbathing, what I do believe. The best bait that I found that bass like for this is that rage tail crawl. Those pinchers are amazing for attracting even the most sluggish bass. And when you free rig this Texas weight, it's gonna keep this presentation nice and smooth right here. So when it glides down, it's gonna come behind it and just flutter down, which is great. I love to have suspend time with my baits because it just has that little bit of hang time where bass are gonna wanna think about striking a lot more. I'm not gonna wanna do a lot of fast retrieving with this. I'm gonna drag this across the bottom the whole time with maybe after about every 3 to 5 rotations, I'm gonna pop it up, flutter about 2 to 3 times. I'm trying to mimic what a crayfish would look like in the water. And a lot of times they're gonna be hunkered right there on the rocks, the ground, the brush. So when I retrieve it, that's what I'm gonna have in mind. And with the very slender and subtle appearance, it can be easily fished around cover. Those fish will take note. Toss it in those deep pockets, preferably with rock shelves and some rock pilings at the bottom. Let that thing sink all the way down. Then we're gonna drag it across the bottom here. I call it building a profile. So this bass get a good look at it. We pop it up 2 to 3 times. Let them know it's there. Oh, gee willikers. See, told you. I'll let him know it's there. And he let me know he's there. What we got here, buddy? Feels like a good size. Definitely pulling that drag. Nope. Don't do that. And the reel's making noise. Nice. What we got here? Let's bring them close. Oh yeah, that's a hog. Here we go. And I'm telling you, that free rigged rage crawl will do it.
So a little trick with these soft plastics, I really like to use these Zone Lock hooks. Has that little knob right here, and it's really good for making that weedless presentation, but it's almost like a button for the bass to hit it right there. And it's also supposed to keep that bait in the fish's mouth a lot longer, a lot better.
Texas rig soft plastic is an excellent choice to use when you're heading into that late summer to early fall transition. So the most versatile bait in the late summer, early fall transition is going to be no other than a swim jig. I know it works all times of year, and this time of year is no exception. With this bait, you can pair it with multiple different trailers. I typically like to use like a Keitech Impact Shad or a Rage Tail Swimmer. Those baits are excellent and they really mimic, you know, those minnows that they're really used to seeing. You're going to want to be target specific because I believe bass are going to be in the deeper pools when the water is really shallow. It's hot out, you know, you're in the upper 80s, upper 90s here. You're going to want to target rock pilings, rock shelves, and maybe suspended brush. Those are really going to be some key features, and you're going to want to put this right on them. I like to let it sit on the bottom of the river as long as possible, really, until it feels almost uncomfortable. And then I like to retrieve it slow. I like to pop it straight up so it gives it that little flutter as it's coming through. And bass really like that because they're going to be right behind it. They may not necessarily want to target it from the side, but they will stalk it down. And when it comes down, that's usually when you get the strike. You are going to have to be really careful with the short strike. You're going to have to make sure this bait is nice and compact. You don't want to really be using a lot of huge baits this time of year. I like to settle with the 4-inch.
So a little trick you can do with these swim jigs, if you want them to set up right and not get snagged, you can fan these weed guards out like this. It'll help that presentation. When you want to stop it a little bit or pause it, it'll keep that elevated a lot more. With these heavy cover swim jigs, they really have a lot of these, and when it sets on its side, it won't get that hook, you know, lodged in maybe a branch or a twig, and it just helps you to keep that weedless presentation. You're fishing a lot of this heavy cover and some of these rocks.
This last bait I'm going to talk about is going to be if you notice you're getting some strikes and you're catching some fish, but you want to catch some bigger ones, and that's going to be the chatterbait. And I like to pair it with a Rage Swimmer or a Kitech Impact Shad. This bait is going to be great for attracting some of those bigger bass that are active, because you're going to get a lot of vibration with this blade right here, and it throws off a lot more flash than some of your soft plastic baits. And the way I like to retrieve this, medium slow, just enough to keep it right there up the upper to middle of the water column. Every 2 to 3 rotations, I want to give it about 2 to 3 twitches side to side with the rod. I want to act like, you know, it's just a darting bait fish. You got to really pay attention to your twitches, because that's really where a lot of your strikes are honed in on. And if you can get that down, I'm telling you, you can catch some of the biggest bass you've caught of this season. Holy smoke-ons. We got a big one. We got a big one. Oh. Come on, baby. Z-Man chatterbait. Oh my God. Huge. Oh my God. Ugh. Come on, baby. Come on. Ooh, don't. What a beast. God dang. Thanks. Right there in the chatterbait. It's really what I like this time of year. Some of my bigger bass, now that I look at it, have been caught all around September. Oh my God, I got it. I hope you hit the like button, comment, share, you know, all the good things. And I'm telling you, this could be a really fun time, or it could be a really slow time. It's up to you. Just make sure you use these in areas where they're gonna work. Those rock shelves are absolutely key this time of year. You got very shallow water. There's really not many places for the fish to go. You wanna hit those dark spots, so they're gonna target them pools, and they want some bit of cover. They want to feel like they're at home. The color presentation is going to be more specific to what clarity of water you're fishing in. If it's going to be clear, I like those green pumpkins, those bluegill colors, those shad colors. They work great. It's a little bit more murkier. I'm going to get those whites, those yellows, sometimes those more chartreuse greens. With the crayfish, I like that watermelon, green pumpkin. Those are going to be really good colors. I know a lot of these are just my preference and opinions, but hopefully I gave you some ideas for success this time of year. Remember, the key to success is patience and persistence. So I want you to try some different baits, some different techniques, and hopefully you can find one that works for you. But until next time, this is Zach, and I want you guys to keep it real.